it was going good. We met at we actually met at a party.
Mm-hmm.
We started talking later on, and we just kind of jumped straight into a relationship. Um, Things kind of ended because she felt I was more committed to my social life
Mm-hmm.
rather than so much with her. But I was like, it's just my social life is also my business. Like I have to meet new people, I have to network with everybody, and unfortunately, it does take time away from me from her.
Yeah.
And regardless of whatever happens, like any time we actually got to spend it together, it was still I just try to make the best out of it. So we ended up just kind of breaking up for a bit, still seeing each other on good terms. Um, but then eventually she kind of just like would get upset at me at certain stuff. Like we would always just be joking around and stuff like that, and she would like, oh, I'd be like, hey, and I'm like, why don't you go text your host? And she'd be telling me the same thing too, but it became a problem when I would say it to her.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just like, okay. Um, so then we stopped talking for a bit, came back, like, okay, like where are we gonna go from this? But after so many times of on and off again, I'm just like, at the end, I'm like, I already know this is not gonna work out because
Yeah.
we
Like a repeat cycle.
exactly because I'm like the relationship
Dealing with the
has
same
already
issue.
yeah, because I'm like it's already been tainted. Like it's not gonna go back to that whole fresh, brand new, lovey-dovey honeymoon stage.
Yeah.
I was like, because once you already tainted that relationship by doing all this stuff, it's very hard to go back into that previous cycle. And well, in the long run, I guess we kind of just split, and she was seeing her ex side still, and just like okay, it was like
On the side?
yeah. So I was just like, oh, I guess I was aside. So it was just like, so you're seeing both of us. I was like, now I understand why you would be getting upset when I would be making these jokes.
Yeah.
And then when you joke back at me, I just took it as a joke. When I said it back to you, you would get upset.
So you found out, or she told you?
No, I ended up finding out because she ended
Really?
she ended up blocking me and everything, but she didn't take me off of her TikTok. And that's when I found out she was pregnant. I'm just like,
Whoa.
I'm like,
She belongs to the streets.
and I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, the last time we were together, you came spending at my house.
Yeah.
That was the same morning that you found out you were pregnant. So I'm just like, so how
That's
long were you
crazy.
seeing the other guy?
Dang.
I was also seeing me too.
Do you think it might have been an issue how you found her? Like, because you say you guys met at a party. You think the environment might have played a part into that?
I believe so, yes. So because one, the party scene is party scene.
Yeah.
But I think one of the other things is that we never actually got a time to really get to know each other and develop
Yeah. I get it.
together.
So everything just kind of moved in fast. It felt
Yeah,
perfect
exactly.
at first, so it just kind of fell into place.
Yeah.
Like,
So
fuck it,
because
let's just
before
be
you,
together.
Before you could do your background check and do the whole
yeah.
thing.
So we just kind of just jumped straight into the relationship, and that's where like we kind of figured out that we're a little bit more of two different people. Like both of us were focused on
Not
our
as
careers.
compatible as you thought.
Exactly. And so I think that's been one of the problems lately is just that people kind of just jump straight into the relationship while skipping that friendship stage without actually getting to know each other and understanding like how everybody is.
So on that note that you mentioned that, what do you guys think about nowadays being that like mainstream everything is off social media? Like I don't know if you had a chance to or anything like lately, just even like speaking to a woman, if you spoke her out in public, you're trying to get her number or something like that, like she's gonna give you her Instagram or her Snapchat instead of a phone number. Like she's not going to. I mean, I get it, and it's nowadays like once they say like, here, I'll add you, and once they check you out before they even answer your DM or like that, let me just go through this page because that's like the new electronic resume. Let me see how he's living his lifestyle. Let me see what he does. Let me see who he knows. Like, do you think that has a lot to do with like why like dating nowadays is just bad?
I believe so. I think it's just like now so many people are focused on that social media aspect rather than getting that personal note. And just regardless, it's always now that first impression off of your Instagram or off of your Snapchat or off
Like
of your
if
Twitter.
your followers ain't up, your likes ain't up, they don't
Yeah.
even pay attention.
And then I think that now because of that is that people see all these Instagram accounts, people see all these like photos and just that actual social media presence, and then in reality it's gonna be a whole different
Yeah.
aspect. So I think because of the social media, it sets up this new standard for people to see like, okay, well, he's not as popular, or his photos aren't that good, and his appearance wise or stuff like that, but you can't tell somebody's personality based off of their photos.
Yeah.
Their social media presence might show a little bit about it, but it's half the time it's just them reposting other content or other memes.
I think like nowadays a lot of the clout is currency. So
Mm-hmm.
the more clout you have, the more you're worth. Is what people think.
I believe so.
What do you think?
So would you say that the social media kind of ruined the dating scene?
I believe it did, but it also kind of also benefits a little bit. One, because social media, you have a much better way of actually being connected to somebody in real time, so you can kind of see their stories, you can see their status updates and stuff like that. So you'll actually get like that real time update from the person. But at the same time, I also do think it did impact the way how we see people and the way we set up our standards.
You think seeing them as in like, what would you say? 75% of the shit ain't real.
Yeah.
About, yeah, because
Well, I feel like it's not just if it's real or not. It's just nowadays, like what you post on social media, what do you really post? You only post the good times. You only post
True.
like, kind of clout stuff, like where you going,
Status,
or
stuff you
like,
bought,
to
stuff you had.
uplift your status.
Mhm.
For example, per se, my situation right now, like I'm sick and stuff like that, and then people are like, hey, like you're posting this and that.
Like, we don't want to see that shit.
Like,
Like,
yeah, like how are you like sick but you're posting this and that? Like, well, I'm sorry, like you don't know me, you know my social media.
Mm.
Yeah,
You don't
okay.
know the actual
Okay.
person behind the account.
Yeah.
You're just going based on
What
what's
you
on
see.
that account. And that's the another
That's true.
I do feel like that social media it is not an issue, because yes, it does expand you to like meet more people, around the world. But if you think about it, back in the days when people would actually date, they would actually date the person, not the profile. They would actually
I
get to
agree
know
with
the
that.
person. They
I
would
agree with that.
yeah, like they would actually try to get to know each other. Like back in the days, it was more like, oh, let's go movie dates, or oh, let's ice cream dates. Like it was just more like doing outing stuff, like getting to know the person. Now you don't even get to know the person; you get to know their account.
Yeah, and then when you do go out, or even if you're out by yourself or with your friends, and let's say you go to like a Fridays type of event, you're chilling at the bar, and you take a look around the room, you see all the couples, if they're dating or whatever, they're on their phone.
Everybody's
They're not communicating, trying to get to
I
know
say
that
half-
person one
half-
on one.